Well, it's Chelsea. I'm in my classroom right now, and I thought I would tell you guys some stories because I'm at school about my Korean students. And these are like my favorite stories about them. So I guess let's start with my hair. Okay, so I'm in Korea. I'm in South Korea. Koreans don't have naturally blonde hair. Like, they don't. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. It's not there. So, and even a lot of foreigners, like, we don't have blonde hair. So when my students see my hair, even though it's actually fairly dark as far as blonde goes, but it is in fact blonde, especially if you put it in front of the sunlight, it looks kind of like goldeny. And so my students are fascinated by my hair. I get constantly like, teacher, your hair, dye? Like, no, it's real. Like, it's real. Check my eyebrows. Like, it's legit. Like, you can't tell from my eyelashes, of course, because they're covered in mascara. But yeah, I mean, like, this is my natural hair color, and they're like, oh my gosh, doll hair, and then they start to pet me. Because my hair is so rare, my students want to take it home. So I actually had I think he was second grade boy, and he walked up behind me right after lunch and just yanked out. I mean, at least 3 or 4 strands. He just yanked them out and then ran to his friends and was like, look at what I got. Oh my God. It was like showing off my stolen hair to his buddies. I'm like, kid, you can't do that. So obviously, like, I pulled him aside, and I like took my hair back so that he can't, I don't know, clone me, because he's a second grader in Korea. They're really brilliant, you know. Better not to risk it. And I was like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't steal people's hair. I'm sorry, kid. Like, you're not allowed. You have to at least ask. So that was a thing. And then actually, there's another foreigner who teaches with me, and when the students come, we split them between us. He takes half and I take half. And he is also really tall, maybe like 6'5", and he's got light hair and kind of looks like me. I can actually see a fair resemblance. So the students are always trying to pair us together. Chelsea teacher, you and other teacher love. Or like, love? So they'll ask, are we dating? Or they'll just accuse us flat out of being in love with each other. And so eventually we decided, we're like, no, this cannot go on. So we came up with this idea that we would just tell everybody that we're brother and sister. And we've gotten pretty darn good at it. For example, he knows I'm from Louisiana. So one of the students is like, okay, 6th graders, they're like, you're lying. We're like, we're not lying. And we stood next to each other and did the same smile. And we're like, no, like, don't say oppa, like, we're brother and sister. And she goes, okay, at the same time, say where you're from. And I look at Jordan, I'm like, you know where I'm from, right? He's like, yeah. So she's like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We both go, Louisiana. And their eyes got so big. It was hilarious. And we've actually traded like our parents' names and things like that in case they ever want to quiz us again. We can answer like, done. Which is so hilarious. So funny. But yeah, we've gotten pretty good at tricking them into thinking we're legitimately sister and brother. Another story, anytime, I think my students, I don't think they realize that us as foreigners, we live here. And we're not just here to teach, we also, you know, go to grocery stores and we sleep in an office towel and not in a cot behind my desk, you know. So when I have run into my students walking around the school somewhere, like grocery shopping or by my office towel, they look at me literally like the tiger has escaped her cage and is walking down the street. Like, when you see a tiger in a zoo, you're like, oh, that's cool, it's a tiger and it's in the zoo. Awesome. But if you were to see a tiger walking down the street, you would probably look twice. So when my students see me, they're like, hi, teacher. It's so funny. I mean, I guess they just honestly think that I just like sleep here or something. But yeah, when I do run into them in person outside of school, they always just like freak out and look at me like they have seen a ghost. I've actually had 2 students call me fat. That's fun. What makes me giggle is it's always the tubby students who call me fat. And of course I would never call anybody fat as an insult unless it was like a legitimate like health concern. I'd never call anybody fat. But it's the chubby students who are always like, teacher. Like, for example, I teach a cooking class, and I said, oh, I like salads. One of my 5th graders looks at me, and he goes, really? You like salads? I don't believe that. And I was like, what do you mean? Because if it was a younger student, it would just be like, I could understand how he's like, oh, salads are just terrible. Blech. But no, like the way that this kid was talking, I was like, excuse me, what are you saying? And he's like, nothing, teacher. I was like, kid, I was like 2 seconds away from me, like, you, me, parking lot, after school, let's rumble. Like, you're so full of horse hockey, you little shit. But, I mean, I don't let it get to me. And I also had like a 3rd grader do it too, like, teacher, baby? I was like, excuse me, kid? My waist is like 26 inches around, so no. And then, but at the same time, I've had other girls be like, you know, you have an ant waist, which means that your waist is really small. So I don't really let it get to me, and if I were you, I wouldn't let it get to you either. I think it's usually they're just trying to mess with you. And it's always a boy. Like, it's always a mischievous boy who's just trying to get to your head. So don't worry about it too much. So that's my favorite stories about my Korean students right now. I'm sure I have more, but my video is already running really long. So I will see you guys later. If you have any questions or comments, or you want to talk to me, or want me to do more videos like this, put it in the comments below. I love your faces, and I'll see y'all later.